Today we're going to talk about Singapore. It's famous for its stunning economy and its, well, perfect social order. But a huge piece of that puzzle is its immigration engine, a system that is so pragmatic and so successful, it's built on a foundation that most other countries wouldn't even dare to consider.
So, let's get right into it, because you really have to ask, how does a tiny island pull this off? Singapore's entire approach to immigration pretty much throws out the rulebook. While other countries are wrestling with social tensions and integration problems, Singapore seems to have it all figured out. But how? What are they doing that's so different?
All right, the absolute core of it all is this. For Singapore, immigration is not a numbers game. It's not about letting more people in. It's a quality-first strategy. The goal isn't just to fill jobs, it's to handpick people who they believe will supercharge the economy and, just as importantly, fit perfectly into their very carefully managed society.
Now, for those very few people who actually fit that quality profile, Singapore does offer a path to becoming a citizen. But, and this is a big but, it is a deliberate, steep climb. This is no fast track. We're talking about a multi-year journey that's designed to weed out everyone except the most valuable and committed people.
So here is how it works. You start with a high-skilled work visa, something like an employment pass. Then, after you've been there for years proving your worth, you might get the chance to apply for permanent residence, or PR. And only after you've been a PR for at least 2 years can you even think about applying for full citizenship. You see? Every single step is a filter, and each gate is narrower than the last.
And these final hurdles, they're huge. It's not just about paying your taxes. You have to give up your old citizenship. Singapore does not mess around with dual nationality. You're either in or you're out. And for men, there's mandatory military service. That is the ultimate commitment, right? It's a fundamental duty that ties you directly to the nation's defense.
So how does Singapore decide who has quality? Well, they basically turned it into a science with a system called Compass. Think of it like a scorecard for every applicant. It scores your salary, your education, and even things like whether your company hires enough locals. It's a completely data-driven way of deciding who even gets to start the climb.
Okay, but that whole official path we just went through, that's only half the story. The real secret, the thing that makes this entire machine run so smoothly, is a stark, intentionally designed two-tier system. It creates two completely separate worlds for foreigners.
In this quote, this gets right to the heart of it. This is the philosophy for that other half of the system. For a huge number of foreign workers, the rules are completely different. They aren't seen as potential citizens. They are seen and managed, just as the quote says, as a temporary economic resource.
Just look at how different these two worlds are. It is literally night and day. On one side, you've got professionals who can bring their families and have a real shot at staying forever. On the other, manual laborers on work permits with zero path to staying. Their families can't come, they often live in separate dorms, away from the general public. And the level of control is just absolute. If you want to marry a local, you need government permission, and if you're a female worker and you become pregnant, your work permit is canceled and you're sent home. It's a system of total, complete separation.
And that separation, that's just one tool Singapore uses. The government has some incredibly powerful policies to literally engineer social harmony, to stop the kind of friction and segregation that we see in so many other places.
Take the ethnic integration policy. Now, since something like 80% of Singaporeans live in public housing, the government uses that housing as a tool for forced integration. It sets strict quotas on the ethnic makeup of every single building to physically stop ethnic bubbles from ever forming. This chart shows you exactly how it works. See those percentages? Every public housing building has to match those ratios, which reflect the country's population. So let's say a building has hit its quota for Indian families. Well, another Indian family simply cannot move in. It doesn't matter if they can afford it. The quota is the rule. It's a top-down way to make sure people mix. The other big control lever is economic, the foreign worker levy. Basically, it's a tax companies have to pay every month for each low-skilled worker they hire, and you can think of it like a faucet. If the economy slows down, the government turns the faucet up, making foreign labor more expensive to protect local jobs. If there's a boom, they turn it down to fill the gaps. It's an economic valve they can adjust with incredible precision. So when you put all of this together, the selective path for the professionals, the temporary by design path for laborers, and all these strict social and economic controls, you get to the fundamental trade-off. This is the price of the Singapore model.
And here's that trade-off laid bare. Singapore gets incredible economic stability and a level of social peace that is pretty much unheard of. But they get it with a system of ruthless pragmatism, a system that sorts people into different classes with completely different rights. And that's a choice that would be politically, maybe even ethically, a non-starter in most Western democracies.
Which leaves us with a really tough question. Is Singapore's engineered society a brilliant model for the future? Proof that total control is the price you pay for harmony? Or is it a warning about what happens when you prioritize the system over the individual? That's the question Singapore's success makes you think about.